Welcome to our weekly program, Economic Forum, where we discuss various issues affecting our economy. My name is John Masugu. Nowadays, it's very common at workplaces that there are days that are set aside, or even times of the day that are set aside in order to do exercises and also in order to discuss health issues that would affect the employees who under MDS 1 have to be fit in order to achieve our vision 2030. So we'd like to discuss that, especially with a focus on women's wellness and health. And we've invited into the studio Dr. Patience Mba, who is an oncologist, that's a medical practitioner who specializes in cancers. But in this program, she is going to be looking at wellness and health issues much more broadly. Why it is important to be fit, Dr. Mba, physically and mentally. You can take it from there.
Health, according to the WHO definition, it is a state of complete well-being in terms of your mental, physical, social, and spiritual well-being. It's not just the absence of disease. So looking at women's health specifically, we are now delving in the general issues which affect both men and women, but also unique issues which affect women. Things like depression, fertility issues, menstrual issues, and also, of course, the economic issues which may be specific or more tailored to the women. Why is it important to talk about wellness? A good, healthy population provides a healthy workforce for the economic productivity. So at the end of the day, everything is linked together.
Now, what causes all these problems, the mental and physical problems or challenges that you've just alluded to?
So the cause of ill health or some of these situations that we come across is multifactorial. You really have one particular cause accounting for everything. So there are different categories. There are things which are more tailored to the person as an individual. It can be their genetic makeup, the food they eat, the environment they are in, what they are exposed to, and even the income that they are making or not making. It can affect their overall well-being or their health. And then there can also be issues to do with the family structure that they are from. So somebody might have a higher probability of making it in life, but perhaps they are born in a situation which is disadvantageous to them, so they don't have access to education, or maybe they are abused. All these kinds of factors can play a role. Then the community in which we are in also plays a big role in terms of our overall well-being as women. And then you look at the world macro social economic situations. There are pandemics which can affect everybody, whether it's a man or a woman. For example, the COVID-19, it will affect everybody, but it might affect a single mother in a different manner than it would affect a family with a mother and a father, both co-parenting and helping to raise kids.
When we started, we did say that there is now awareness that is taking place at the workplace, and it's even taking place in the homes. You find over the weekends people going to some church hall or to some other social amenities in order to exercise. But others do not exercise. They are into hard work and so forth. Do people understand why they have to exercise?
Gradually, we have realized a trend that people have come to realize that health is an integral part of everybody's life. If you do not have good health, no matter how much money you're making, you will not enjoy it, or you may not even live long enough to enjoy it. So everybody is now trying to understand and contribute to their own personal health. When you talked about the wellness, I look at companies, for example. They are now coming up with wellness days where they encourage their staff members to know about a subject matter or even broad subjects at once, or even get checked. So this is a way in which the companies have also realized that having a healthy workforce yields better outcome in terms of productivity, and it also results in less times with staff members going for checkups outside of the workplace. So yes, they are supporting the staff members, but they're also looking out for the interest of their businesses. And then on a social level, when you look at what happens in churches or what's happening in the community, people running and exercising every day, we have all come to a point where most people have accepted that being overweight beyond a certain extent can affect your health, be it the increase of diabetes in our setting, the increase of hypertension, heart diseases, and the list goes on. And even when you look at diseases like cancers, which are non-communicable, you find that if you exercise, you stand a higher chance of being able to withstand and fight and even prevent the onset of some of the cancers. Yes.
But what would be your message to those women who are generally working hard in their daily lives? They are, in the rural areas, they're the ones who are fetching water, firewood, and doing everything and so forth. And really, do they need to be jogging around? Do they need to be exercising? What is the message there? In fact, they could be even overworking themselves.
The most important message to them is remember that work is not exercise. Work, you are using your body to achieve a certain task, and it actually wears your body down. Exercise are deliberate movements you are giving to your body which help to build certain muscles and aerate or oxygenate certain areas of your body. So at the end of the day, each woman should take a bit of time just to breathe and take care of themselves.
Rest is very important, you're
Rest
saying,
is very
Dr. Mba.
important,
That's
yes.
Dr. Patience Mba, who is an oncologist, but today we are talking about women's wellness and health. Despite the fact that she specializes in these cancers, she's going to be talking about them, but it's women's wellness and health. Join us in the second segment. We are now in the second segment of Economic Forum, where today we are discussing women's wellness and health with our guest, Dr. Patience Mba. Dr. Patience Mba is an oncologist, that is a medical practitioner who specializes in cancers, but she's also very much interested in helping out on general wellness and health. Dr. Mba, in the last segment, you did talk about overworking oneself, that it can also be a danger. Mm-hmm. And that does not only happen to our mothers and sisters in the rural areas who do most of the chores, but even at the workplace, there are working situations that can exhaust women and even men during their working lives. How should those be dealt with so that upon their retirement, upon their rest, they are not then affected by what they did over so many years when they were at the world of work?
What I would recommend we do, or how we deal with it, is to look at entry-level workspaces. As you start a job or enter a company, may all the safety measures that need to be in place be put in place. So let's give an example of a mining company. If a woman is an engineer or a miner, may she have access to all the safety requirements, from goggles, masks, all the right gear to prevent inhalation of all those toxic chemicals and long-term detrimental diseases such as cancers. So I think if this can be put in place, specifically looking at women, that would be helpful. And then, of course, there are issues to do with mental health when a woman is having fertility issues to address. They are pregnant, they are breastfeeding. We encourage all companies to address those issues and give them fair working conditions, allowing them to get a salary whilst they're also attending to what we call national duties. Because at the end of the day, the population is increasing because women are working and doing their natural duty that God gave to them. Then there are other issues to do with personal care, where, as I said before, at the end of the last segment, each woman needs to take some time just to take care of their body. Are they using their favorite soap? After all, take care of the body that works. Are they eating well? Are they being listened to, be it by their spouse, by their children? Are they contributing socially to church? These are things that bring wholesomeness to a woman's life. And above all, I encourage companies and women to go for screening tests for different types of conditions, whether be it just for an annual checkup, for a general checkup, including your blood pressure, check for diabetes, or you're going for cancer screening, especially now that we know that cervical cancer is rampant, breast cancer is rampant, and these are cancers which affect women.
Yes, let's talk about those that actually affect women, and others, while they're at work, they may be a bit skeptical or just fearful that I cannot be absent from work to be checked or to be treated for this disease. Let's talk about those which are prevalent among women that they should really care for, and that even employers should take care of when they employ women.
So the commonest cancer worldwide which affects women is breast cancer. In Zimbabwe, the commonest cancer that affects women is cervical cancer. If we look at the cancers, the top 5 cancers which affect women worldwide, number 1 will be breast cancer, lung cancer, colorectal cancer, endometrial cancer. Then you get cervical cancer. When you look at the Zimbabwean situation, our demographic is a lot different, not a little bit. The leading cancer in Zimbabwe is cervical cancer, which is HPV related, followed by breast cancer. Coming after that is Kaposi sarcoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, esophageal cancer, and then colorectal cancer. Women in Zimbabwe have got to understand that breast cancer is a common cancer. Simply because you're a woman, you can get breast cancer. But cervical cancer is also rampant in our society, and it is linked to HPV infection with an underlying predisposition of HIV for some of the women. But you also have other cancers like Kaposi and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In other words, if you're going to a workplace, if you're going for cancer screening, yes, remember the cancers which can affect you. That's why we encourage women to go for VIAC or pap smear. Now we have introduced the HPV DNA testing for cervical cancer.
Tell us about DNA. How does it come into it?
Well, DNA refers to the genetic makeup that we all have. That is what influences our general body makeup, that you're male or African descent, your height, everything. So when you look at cancer specifically, every abnormality that you see has started from a genetic defect in that DNA. There's a problem that has occurred, whether a small part of it has been deleted, changed, elongated. I can go to town about this one, but eventually that is what would then build up, and these abnormalities would then result in an abnormal cell that does not respond to the triggers to say stop growing, stop spreading to different sites, and all those things, which we eventually call cancer.
So is this anything to do with some of these diseases that are hereditary?
Some diseases which are hereditary are also passed on genetically from mother or father or parents to the children. So they are non-lethal genetic defects, meaning that they don't kill the person who they're being passed on, but then they can cause a disease that can be expressed or manifest. So in cancers, there are some cancers which come up because of these genetic defects.
Dr. Mba, some women and even men become afraid when they hear that their grandparents or their parents died of this disease, and therefore they are afraid to be checked, and they actually live in fear. Tell us about these genetics and DNAs and how they affect patients or some of the clients you've met.
Fear will not make the genetic defect go away. What we actually encourage people and families to do is to step forward, especially when you know that somebody in the family had a condition. Because if we are to pick it up early, we are actually standing a greater chance of dealing with it, and it will not affect the overall or the long-term part of your life. If we pick it up late, then there's a problem. That's step number 1. Number 2, The other message I want people to know out there is that yes, some cancers are linked to the genetic mutations and they can be passed on from one family member to the other. Having said that, it's less than 10% of all cancers where a familial or a family genetic defect can actually be traced. So people must not be scared.
Dr. Patience Mba, thank you very much for that point. We'll stop you there for this segment. Join us in the third and final segment of Economic Forum, where we are discussing women's wellness and health. We are now in the third and final segment of Economic Forum, where today we are discussing women's wellness and health with Dr. Patience Mba, who is an oncologist, that's a medical practitioner who specializes in cancers. But we are delving deeper, but we're looking at how different diseases affect women at the workplace, in the home, and resultantly also affecting economic development in the country. Dr. Mba, the issue of class here, what role does it play? Because some of the things that you mentioned are common in certain classes, the elites and so forth, and some of them are common among the very ordinary members of our society. How do you deal with that? And then we'll go into the workplace as to how some of these diseases are actually prevented through education.
Right. So the socioeconomic class, when it comes to disease patterns in general, regards, for example, cancers, the cancer does not know socioeconomic class, so it will affect all types of women, whether the rich or the poor. But of course, we do have certain cancers which may be more prevalent in the lower socioeconomic classes than the others. For example, the cervical cancer patients sometimes tend to be clustered towards the lower end of the socioeconomic spectrum. But when you look at breast cancer, as long as a woman is a woman, 90% of breast cancer patients are women. It's driven by estrogen hormone, which all women have, and any woman can get it, right? Socioeconomic class has more of an impact in terms of access to health and services. There it plays a role because I've realized that women who are of a better social standing or economic standing tend to access services earlier, and they come in with earlier disease than women of a lower social standing, where they keep procrastinating or pushing because they've got other bread and butter issues that they feel they need to attend to before they can even attend to their own health. So in that particular instance, there's a big role or big impact in terms of access to health regards social classes.
The other issue is about different types of jobs. You know, if you're a driver or if you're into, a job that involves carrying workloads, some employers are reluctant to employ women there. So you then have these gender disparities and so forth. Is it true? Because some of the arguments are that when the women are involved in those jobs, they will have miscarriages and other complications.
So it is true that there is gender bias in some workspaces and also in some stereotypical male jobs. But I think as society we need to come to a point of accepting that women can be equally competent to perform certain tasks as much as men. Women have now made it into the boardroom, they've made it into the mining sector, they've made it into farming, they've made it into medicine.
Those are well understood, but we're talking about those which involve carrying heavy loads, doing real manual work.
We have seen women doing manual work with the city of Harare, digging potholes. I think we should not limit women based on their gender, but let's look at their limits based on their ability. Having said that, we also need to remember that there are some companies which will also stereotype or refuse to give women economic opportunities due to the fear that they'll have to take maternity leave when they have children and then breastfeeding time. But I think we need to come to a point where we just accept that women have got a role in the economics space.
If you're invited to a company boardroom and you're talking to the executives,
Yes.
what are the issues that you would point out to the executives as to be aware of and also embrace as part of our societal issues that take care of these things with regards to employing women, especially about their health?
The first thing, that if the women who are already part of their company are given a space which is conducive for them to perform at their optimum, that is, they've got sound mental health and they've got equal economic salaries or outputs as their male counterparts, those women will perform. And I believe that women sometimes can even give 110% of their effort when they know that they are being respected and being taken care of at their workspace. And then over and above that, they need to make sure that the women in that workspace also have their unique aspects addressed.
That's
Do they have...
mothers,
Yes.
and so forth?
All our work schedules have got to then remember that these women still have got to go back home and do other duties. We are not saying that the duties at work should be cut down, no, but let's embrace the whole family structure, because the woman doesn't just come as an individual. She comes with a whole village behind her. So when you've got a woman supporting your company, she can go over and above to make sure that your company goes, but you also have got a role to support her as a woman, as a mother, as a sister.
As we conclude, Dr. Mba, let's hear from you how you emphasize the importance of some of this education and guidance that is got from the workplace and even in social circles about staying healthy, especially among our women folk.
For women out there, for companies out there, we encourage you to make sure that you continue attending wellness days, set them up, attend them, utilize them. Women need information on how to take care of their bodies, how to take care of their health, and in so doing, they're going to take care of your companies and make sure that you've got maximum economic output.
How about the girl child?
The girl child is very precious. She is the custodian of our future. And I would like to also talk about the fact that when they are starting their menstrual periods, this is also a unique feature about the girl child at school. Let's have lessons with them. Let them be taught separately how to handle the pads, the red blood that comes and stains the uniform, and also support in terms of pads and all that hygiene that is around that area.
Well, we'd like to thank you very much. That's Dr. Patience Mba, who is an oncologist, but also having a special interest in women's wellness and health, was talking to us about various issues that affect women, particularly at the workplace. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can do so on the numbers that are showing on your screen. And you can also visit our social media platforms, which are also displaying on your screen. You can also view some of the episodes that you may have missed or you want to watch again and again of Economic Forum. You can do that on Economic Forum Zimbabwe on the YouTube channel. So what remains is to thank you very much, Dr. Patience Mba and the production crew. Until next time, this is John Masuku.